Hey guys, Michaela here, doing an update. Still in Oaxaca City. I got the lips and all that on. I just did my own little photo shoot for website stuff and marketing or whatever. And I didn't do it with professional, I just did it myself. So we'll see how that goes. But I wanted to share what's been going on. It's been a busy week, starting with when last I was on, I reported about Leo, one of my cats, missing. If you're not on my Facebook, you didn't hear the spiel about this woman who was supposedly trying to be my friend, trying to help out with my expat grief and all that, and wrote me like this 5-paragraph horrid message about what she perceived as my indifference about his missing in my last video, when in fact what she was seeing was just me trying to reckon with more grief coming my way. But anyway, he was gone for about 3 days, and I was out every night shaking the treat jar, trying to get him, find him. The staff here posted on their neighborhood apps, and so basically this whole neighborhood was on watch for Leo. And then a few nights ago, the maintenance guy here let me know that on camera he could see Leo in the parking lot circling my vehicle. He told me today, looking up at the loft where we were staying before, it just broke my heart. But I couldn't figure out how he could get into the parking space, because the parking space is extremely secure. Not any space anywhere where a cat even could squeeze in, unless he was airlifted into the parking lot. I didn't know, but I was like, well, we'll see. That night, the dogs and I loaded up around 11, and we were gonna go stay in the car and open the back hatch and see if he came back. And when I get in the parking lot, and, it's nighttime, so it's pretty quiet, I called his name and I could hear him. But he was real muffled, and I couldn't tell if he was on the other side of a big concrete wall or in someone's garage or whatever. Turns out he was in the undercarriage of another guest's car, and it was a Volkswagen that's kind of low to the ground, but he wasn't in the engine. He was just in that, I forget what they call it, that scrape plate that keeps bottom of your car safe, and apparently your cat. Had he been in the engine, this would have been a different ending, of course, but it explains why his AirTag kept showing him 4 miles down the road in San Jacinto, 4 miles this way in Centro Oaxaca City. And he was going all over the place with these people. Then when I would go check on it, find it where it's like he's been found, because apparently those people had an iPhone. So I would report him missing, but then they would find the tag nearby. But anyway, so crazy story. He ended up coming out. Took him a second. I think he was just scared. And so when he came out, his little paw seemed a little hurt, but that was really it. And today he's fine. So we're back to the full family. I feel whole again, and we're doing well. So I'm finally feeling grounded enough that I went and did a couple things. I went to, this past Friday, a place, it's hard for me to say, Ierva el Agua, Ierva el Agua. It's essentially natural springs and with heavy minerals, and so it's got thousands of years of stalagmites and stalactites that have petrified, and it looks like a waterfall, a petrified waterfall. So we hiked for a while, and then we hiked back up, and then you go swimming in the pools. And it was too cold for a lot of people, but fortunately I've been doing some cold plunges before I left Texas, so I was like, this is amazing. I love it. I'm sure you've seen on my page some of the pictures. Met some cool people, some people from Germany and a guy from France. And then yesterday, yes, I went to, or was it today? It might have been today. No, it was yesterday. I can't remember. Anyway, went to Monte Alban, and it's one of those, I think it's the Zapotec people, and it's one of the archaeological sites that was left undisturbed by the Spanish invasion, Cortez and all that, because the people were already gone. They were from 500 BC, and by the time the other conquerors got there, it was just the structures that were left. But these buildings are so freaking old, and you feel how ancient it is. Of course, I had a guide, so we got to hear about how they managed to do things, what different colors meant, how they were able to create what they created without modern machinery. And then of course the sacrificing. Apparently there's back and forth about whether or not they actually participated in what everybody else in the area participated in. But essentially they would cut here and then pull out the heart, and it's still beating, and then the priest eats the heart, and then they skin them and wear the skin. I mean, it's intense. And I wonder, because I asked, I was like, is this a surprise to somebody that they're going to be the sacrifice? Like, because it's to appease certain gods, fertility, rain, that kind of thing. And higher they are in the hierarchy, then the more valuable the sacrifice was. So if you're born a princess, are you spending the rest of your life knowing that one day you'll be a sacrifice for fertility? What that life must be like, Some, of course, I would imagine thought it an honor because it was for their religion and for their beliefs, and people do crazy shit for that stuff. And, well, they don't consider it crazy, and that's, my opinion about it's neither here nor there for that situation. But I was thinking about what it must be like to be walking next to a friend who isn't going to be sacrificed, and the different life experiences that one would have. So did that, went to see the tree of Tule, which is a 1,400-year-old tree. It's massive. I have some pictures with it, but it doesn't, of course, do it justice. I still need to post those. So that was really neat. And yesterday I tried to find dog parks, but there was only 2 places that hinted at being that, and one was like a canine training place. That's not what we were looking for. And the other was just nothingness. So I got to use my little spaceship's all-wheel drive and test her out for some more intense driving that, of course, I'll run into as I get into Costa Rica. And there's some places in Costa Rica that, what I've found for renting, that you have to have a vehicle, that 4x4 that can get up there. So had I tried to do this in my previous 2008 Civic, I don't know that we would have made it. So we got to go on a little bit of a joyride for that, and it was great. Where we ended up, there was nobody there, so it was silence and just nature, which is my jam. So that's pretty much what's going on. Of course, there's the whole Venezuela thing that has just happened, and initially I was like, what the fuck? And then, of course, educated myself a little more, and it turns out the guy and the wife that were kidnapped or removed weren't great people. A lot of Venezuelans are happy about it, but the more that we do this, the more that the regime in charge of the U.S., it becomes the bully, that they more so a bully than they are already. Makes me a little nervous just being an American. So I'm not sure, but I may just kind of tape over the part that says Texas on my license plate, because they really just need the numbers that match the registration. So I have an Amazon plate that I printed, which was advised in some of the American forums that you print your license plate essentially on Amazon, and then you do that once you cross the border. You keep your actual license plates, and for many reasons, but one of them is that apparently some people steal them, but I did get the special screws and all that. But that if you get a parking ticket, they'll take it and keep it until you go pay the parking ticket. So anyway, I was thinking about just maybe taping over that. I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but I don't blame the frustration with people from the US immigrating and using resources that are precious to the Mexican people. And a similar situation up north, but of course in the US they turn them into criminals. I don't believe they are. Maybe a couple, maybe a few, but similar to, maybe less even than ratios of white people coming down here. I hear sometimes the Canadians can be a little rough in the culture. Again, I know nothing about that, so I don't mean to speak out of turn, just sharing what I'm hearing. But as friendly as everybody that I've run into has been in person, online they're assholes, but in person, you know, they're very welcoming. But the reality is that our resources are limited, like drinking water and space and all of those things. I hate to contribute to any part of any problem. I understand gentrification and how I'm contributing to it by using Airbnbs in these places, but I am trying to also support the local community. The guides, we get the local guides and tip them well and things like that. So I'm not sure what other countries are thinking about it. Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua. I know Costa Rica's a little gringoed out and they're probably not happy about it. The Ticos and Panama, I don't know. But essentially, we all have to share the resources wherever they're located, but there's a lot of fear around what's coming next. So that'll play into my journey, I'm sure, to a degree. But for the most part, everybody's still being really nice. Planning to head out here shortly to my next stop. It's back on the beach, and I'm excited for that. Folks here want to do a little going away thing for me, which I initially took as a huge compliment, but then I was like, I could go the other way too. But no, I think it's a compliment. We're going to do some drinks or something before I go, and people here have been incredible. This place has made me feel very safe. I'm not sure how attached my animals are to it. I don't know what they think, if they think this is permanent home now or what, because we've been here so long, but they'll get the hang of it. And Leo, since he disappeared or lost us that time, if I take the dogs anywhere, he's howling, and so he doesn't like to be separated. If it's just me, that's okay, but I think he knows that means I'm coming back. So hopefully he learned his little lesson. Not that whatever he did wasn't done out of instinct or fear or whatever. The people's car whom he was in did have a greyhound. I don't know, but he seemed really sweet, but who knows what his relationship with cats were. Okay, what else? I found Dos Equis. I'm so excited. The Modelo has been great. I tried Victoria for the first time yesterday. It's a nice, it kind of reminded me more of Light Direction. But then after the tour yesterday at Monte Alban, I went into their restaurant and I saw bottles of Dos Equis. So my first one, it's just got a crispness to it that I appreciate. So glad to see that again. Looking forward to getting out of the bigger city space. Just the traffic is different, and to get anywhere, go 4 miles is 30 minutes. I'm a little ready for a smaller community and excited to start packing up. I got a few days of work ahead of me, and then we're gonna hit the road, and that's it from there. Nothing else is coming up as important information for now, but thanks for checking in, and I will see you next time.